Hello everybody. I hope that you guys are doing well. So I thought I'm gonna record the video today because it's been a while on this channel that I said anything. And yeah, I have been changing certain things in my life. So there are some changes, some positive changes in my life, and I have other ventures as well, not only YouTube and not only this channel. So that is the reason why I did not post in the past, I don't know, couple of months probably. But yeah, I'm more active on my esoterica channel, so please watch my videos there because I have readings, and lately I talked about something there which I think is very important, and it is related to the current events in the world. It is actually related to the current war situation and what is happening in the Gaza territory, in Israel. And I talked about the fact that this has to do with the Holy Land. And I want to very briefly talk about what I talked there about as well. So in the past few years, 3 years at least, we have been seeing like an acceleration of energies that is pointing in one direction. And that direction is the changing of the consciousness of humanity, is the changing of the biology of humanity as well. And there have been some means to get that from these forces. So from an occult perspective, many times I talked about the fact that there's a changing in the bioenergetic field of human beings, and that change in the bioenergetic field will result in a more synthetic human in the future. And by that more synthetic human, humanity is losing its humanness, because that more synthetic form of humanity will allow certain lower density entities to reincarnate and to enter in the life flow, in the life impulse of the earth, right? So just by trying to make a more synthetic human, you will open doors and you will open portals for these sort of entities to enter. And there are a few means to do that, which I talked about many times, okay? So you all know what I'm talking about. That is one mean to do that. The other one is to make our society and humanity super digitalized. Everything to become electric, everything to become digitalized. So the organic human is no longer an organic human, but it becomes a slave of this digital society. There are many things that are happening right now that are pointing in one single direction, and I always talk about that direction. And in that reading on my other channel, I talked about the fact that what is going on now in Israel and in between these two groups of people has the potential to escalate in a bigger thing, in a worldwide thing, in a global thing. And why is that? That is because the land itself is carrying certain very holy energies, I would say, because what happened on that land with the crucifixion of Christ is being used by occult forces for inversion. Okay, so these occult forces that are existing in the mirror realm, which is the eighth sphere, this is how it's being called by Rudolf Steiner, that hell realm that is surrounding the earth, that is the eighth sphere. And all these entities that are mimicking humanity and our lower astral entities are wanting to enter the life force and the life stream of humanity, and for that they have to mimic the same energy that is already organic. Okay, so these occult entities are mimicking certain organic energies because they cannot generate their own energy. They are parasitic and they have to invert the already existing energies. That's why, for example, the Christ consciousness is being represented symbolically by the cross, and the inversion of that, the Antichrist impulse, is being represented by the inverted cross. Okay, so everything that is organic is being mirrored in that lower realm, is the upside down realm. I think there was this TV show called Stranger Things. I remember, like on Netflix, it was a very popular TV show. And they called that mirror realm the upside down realm. And by that upside down realm, like literally we can mean an upside down consciousness, an upside down sort of energy. So everything that is organic is being inverted to serve these upside down entities. Okay, so I don't know if it's making sense, but those of you that are familiar with the teachings of Rudolf Steiner, you probably know what I mean by the eighth sphere, and you probably know what I mean by that upside down realm. So what happened on the Holy Land in Israel, like a couple of thousand years ago, was the crucifixion of Christ, was that sacrifice. And I did a reading on my other channel about the energies of November and what is coming in November, and I tuned into the energies of November, and I heard it very, very clearly that there's something about crucifixion. And I didn't really understand why I heard crucifixion. And now it's making sense, because everything that is happening on that Holy Land has to do with the crucifixion, because the crucifixion was a sacrifice. The sacrifice of the Christ consciousness that was ensuring humanity's evolution and coming out from that very dense state in which we are, and which we have been in for a few thousand years already. Okay, so now we are coming out from that dense state. Humanity is evolving and is rising above those lower aspects. But the downside of it is that those lower aspects are still impacting humanity, but they are impacting humanity and they are helping humanity. So that lower energy is helping humanity as a catalyst for the transmutation of our own karma and trauma as well. So we can use those lower energies in order to transmute our own ancestral wounds, karma, and trauma as well, to turn our pain into wisdom. Okay, so what we are seeing is the repetition of certain patterns of racism, certain patterns of hate, one group hating the other group, and there's a recapitulation of that energy. And many people would say that the world is being upside down, and that is true. And we are living times of war, and this is how humanity will be destroyed. We will destroy ourselves and each other by being isolated dramatically from each other, and being detached emotionally from the needs of each other. So not being able to tune into the needs of the other person, but following our own personal agenda. Okay, so the survival of the fittest and the end justifies the means kind of consciousness, and every man out for himself. This narcissistic view will eventually mean the end of our society. But at the end of each epoch, there is an organic stream that is being formed, and there's an inorganic stream that is being formed. Yeah, one is representing the Christ consciousness, the other one is representing the Antichrist consciousness and Antichrist impulse. So what will essentially happen is, yes, a lot of war, a lot of destruction and death, and the whole thing has to kick in that particular point, in that particular area, because the already existing holy energies there can be inverted. At least this is what they think, these entities, these people that are pulling the strings, that by using certain occult forces, they can summon some very negative energies. And in ancient texts, it is being referenced many, many times that there's an incarnation of an Antichrist impulse, and that Antichrist impulse will be incarnated, just as the Christ impulse was incarnated, and it was channeled by Jesus. Jesus Christ was channeling the Christ consciousness. So as an antidote to that, as a manifestation of that upside down world, the astral world, an Antichrist wants to be incarnated as well. And for that, what needs to happen is a lot of distress and a lot of destruction. So certain negative energies can be released, and that can summon that very, very dense and negative energy. And that negative energy is being described by Rudolf Steiner as Armon. the masculine polarity of the fallen angels. The feminine polarity is Lucifer. The masculine polarity is Armon. So Lucifer is the feel-good spirituality, is that dogmatic religion that we just need to feel good and we have to ignore all the universal laws, and we can ignore the universal laws because we can just do whatever feels good. And this is what I see being very present in New Age spirituality when we are talking about certain entities that are influencing the earth, or when we are talking about aliens, and when we are talking about the star seeds and star seed community and different planets and different impulses that are coming from different planets. And that is ignoring completely the ancient teachings, and it doesn't have like a centered spirituality at all. Its base ideology is that there are no laws whatsoever in the universe and we can do whatever we want without repercussions, basically. And that is not true. Everything has repercussions because everything is energy. And the whole universe is being built and created based on two polarities, the masculine and the feminine, the negative and the positive polarity. So everything has a repercussion, everything has consequences. Everything has a contrast and a contrasting energy. So what I'm trying to say here is that Luciferian impulse is being present very much in organized religion, is being present very much in New Age spirituality. I can see it in the starseed communities as well, which I was part of some time ago. I mean, I did believe in certain things that these communities believed in. I did believe them probably for a few months, and I did channel some entities as well. And many of those channelings were distorted. But when you are channeling a certain consciousness, and when you are tapping into the metaphysical realm, it is inevitable for you to tap into that lower astral plane at some point. And without being able to tap into that lower astral plane and to channel certain entities and maybe to channel some distorted information, because a lot of the information that I channeled at that time, if you are watching those videos, I'm not gonna delete those videos, but you can watch them, and some of the information was really distorted. So by tapping into that lower astral plane, what we are learning is discernment. And without tapping into that lower plane, you cannot learn discernment. So that was part of my spiritual progress as well, and my spiritual evolution as well. Okay, so that's why I'm not even trying to delete those videos, because they are the physical proof almost. My words are the proof almost that it's very easy to tap into the lower astral plane and the 8th sphere. But a lot of that information was also correct. So that's why we have to learn discernment, okay? So that is the Luciferian impulse. The harmonic impulse is the digitalization, is that over the intellectual science that is inflexible, that thinks that is God, that wants to play God. Okay, so both of these entities, both of these polarities, the Luciferian one and the harmonic one, both of them want to play God. And both of them are mimicking an organic evolution and are mimicking the Christ impulse. And what is very interesting about this harmonic impulse, which is the digitalization of the society, this science, follow the science. Follow the science and look at the world from that very tiny perspective and limited perspective of science. It doesn't matter how limited we are, and we are changing our opinion about the world maybe every single year, but you have to follow us because that's science. Scientists know. Okay, so that doesn't mean that scientists don't know anything, but I'm talking about that scientific propaganda that is very present in the world. And if we are just following that particular impulse and that particular perspective about climate change, about the thing as well, we know what was the consequence of that, and I don't want to get into that. I'm talking about that propaganda science that is very much want to influence the human consciousness. And that particular impulse, that harmonic one, is creating also a hive mind and the hive mentality, that I'm unable to think independently. I need to think as other people think. Okay, so those parasitic realms that these low consciousnesses are representing, they are also unable to think independently. They have this hive mentality, this horde mentality. And the hierarchies are working based on that herd mentality. And this is what they want also to implement in our third dimensional world. That hive mentality, don't think for yourself, think what we are telling you to think. Okay, so this is what is happening in our society right now, and the reason why everything is seeming to be so upside down, and it is upside down, is because it is time for humanity to see what is going on behind the scenes. Because for thousands of years, the evil was dominating and was thriving in our world without us even knowing that is there. And evil can thrive when no one is knowing about it, when no one is having an understanding about what evil is. And now that particular evil energy is very evident for us, is getting more and more evident for us, can no longer hide, can no longer be in the background. So it's coming out from the background because it needs to come out. It cannot hide any longer. It needs to reveal its identity, but by revealing its identity, it is losing power as well. Okay, so maybe we did live some very apparently peaceful times at some point, and there was not much chaos in the world like a few decades ago, especially after the Second World War. But in the background, evil was thriving. These lower entities were thriving and were operating from the background and making humanity to have this hive mentality. And that hive mentality is extremely, extremely dangerous. So by the evil getting itself revealed, it is helping us. It is a catalyst for us to develop our individuality and to develop who we are and to understand who we are better. Okay, so we need that catalyst, and it's scary, and it will make many people to perish, will make many people to lose themselves. And unfortunately, that impulse is already very evident in many people. You can clearly see who is prone to that digitalization and who is not seeing the forest from the tree. Yeah, we do have this inversion of certain teachings as well. And this evil energy is always hiding behind minority groups, behind goodwill. Let's save the planet with climate change because humans are destroying the planet. But by saving the planet, we are actually serving our own personal agenda. By wanting to implement all these electric cars, we apparently want to save the planet because they are eco-friendly, they are pro-environment, but in reality, they are only serving for the further digitalization of humanity. They are the means to control humanity as well, a means to control you if you are doing certain things that the mainstream, whatever opinion, doesn't agree with, or what the official narrative doesn't agree with. Okay, so we all know these things, but I just wanted to talk about them as a reminder, because what is going on now as a war between the Middle East and perhaps the West as well, there is a means to bring forward certain very negative agendas using that particular land. One thing really, so what they want actually is the sacrifice of Christ on that holy land to disappear and to be overwritten by something that is devastating, to be overwritten by death. This is what they want. They want the planet to be dead. And why they want that? Because they can thrive. But at the same time, they destroy themselves as well if they destroy the planet. So that is the insanity. I always talk about that. That is the insanity and the lack of logic in what these lower entities are doing. Because one, why they are mocking the organic evolution and they are mocking humanity, they do want to be humans. They do want to be human. They do want to enter the live stream. So I'm mocking something, I'm making fun of something. I talk about humanity as slaves, as being created as slaves by aliens and these kind of things, but at the same time, I want to be a human because that's my only salvation, to be a human. Okay, so these entities are mocking us. Yeah, the sour grape syndrome. They are mocking what they cannot be or what they want to be. And the other logic is that they are terrified of death, and they are terrified of that process of death that they need to go through after they are leaving a human host, because they need to go through certain spheres and they need to pass through certain planetary spheres, and they are terrified of that because they know that they cannot pass through those things. They will be recycled, and recycled in a sense that they have to go through the whole incarnation process again, and they are terrified of that. But at the same time, they want to destroy the planet and to make it synthetic. But they don't know that by doing that, they are actually destroying themselves. So they are terrified of their own self-fulfilling prophecy, basically. If it's making sense, what I'm saying. All right, guys. So yes, the whole thing has a potential to escalate in a WW3. Please watch my reading about that on my other channel if you're interested. And I will do some predictions as well, probably, but only next month, I believe, about 2024. I will tune into the energies of 2024, but I will probably, I don't know if I'm going to post it here on this channel or I will post it on the other channel. Please subscribe on my other channel. Yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about because I think it's very important for us to know about what is happening, what is going on, to develop awareness and to educate ourselves about the fact that this is not just a conflict and this is not just a war situation that is occurring because it needs to occur. There are people that pulling the strings, and there are the same families that are sponsoring wars over and over again. And the same families are behind what is going on, that were behind the First World War and the second one as well. And they do want a third one. They do want that. But it's not up to them. But as I said, unfortunately, many people will be participating in that. There's no other way around. And that is becoming more and more evident for me that I need to let go of certain people because they just don't see the forest from the tree. They just don't see in which direction our society is going, and that they are falling prey to the digitalization, the oh my god amazing inventions that we are seeing in the world, like the technological inventions, and they do think that this is the only way of humanity of surviving and this is our direction, and they don't see how badly it goes against the organic human evolution. And I'm not saying that technology is bad, but I'm saying that when it's trying to replace the human consciousness and the organic human, then it's becoming dangerous. And this is what they want. They want to replace what you can do already organically. So we don't need to participate in these agendas, and we can always say yes only to things that are organic. And for that, we need to develop our discernment and to listen to our discernment and to really understand the world by doing things with our hands, by having that connection with nature, by having that organic connection with things, by, I don't know, growing our own food or just having plants in our place that are, living. It's not the same when you're having a living creature next to you and when you're having something that is dead. And you have to sense the energy and the difference in the energy that those two different things are emitting. You have to feel it intuitively. So by using your senses as well, you have to feel the difference, to see the difference, to feel the difference, to understand the difference between something that is organic and something that is not organic. And it's not the same. And it's not the same to, not even to drive an electric car than driving a car that is not electric. I'm sorry, it's not the same. And I'm not saying that electric cars are in and of itself bad, but let's not forget that everything that is electric is hackable. Everything is hackable that is not living. And everything that doesn't have the connection with the Christ impulse and with God can be hacked. Let's not forget that. All right, guys, so this is what I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for being here. Please follow me, subscribe on my other channel because I will be more active there. And yeah, Hope to see you again very soon. Take care, everybody. And I'm wishing you an amazing weekend and an amazing week as well. Bye.